My name is Phumelela Msomi. I'm the CEO of Natal Raise and Wire. We're a wire supply and installation company based in New Germany, Pinetown. I was born in Durban in October 1992. My primary school years were spent in Richards Bay. I went to Richards Bay Primary School, and when we eventually moved back to Durban, I studied at Durban High School, where I matriculated and eventually studied BCom accounting at KZN Westville. So my direction was initially in the accounting field, but it was preparing me for more my business, on the business side of things. I was always studying to go into business. So our family had a small construction company at that point in time, which I wanted to go and join. During my university years, I actually started my company in my second year of varsity, and I did my first project while I was still a student. So it was quite nice because after that first project, it was a decent amount of money as a student. And so I realized from that point on that I didn't really want to complete the whole CA route. I'd prefer to go into business. So yeah, that's how it started off. And yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. In fact, while I was at DHS, I used to run the tuck shop. I ran the tuck shop for about 3 years, and then I used to cut hair. So I've always loved sort of business and trading. And yeah, so it started from earlier. Even my father actually reminded me the other day of when we were still in primary school, and we started a business with my cousin. It was called Cousin's Car Wash. And so there was always this fascination, I think, with business that was there. And yeah, I think time it eventually was able to manifest itself in opportunities that we took here. When I completed my studies at Westville, I was sort of still trying to find direction. I knew I wanted to be in the construction industry. And funny enough, what happened was a friend of mine was working for this business back at that time. And there was an opportunity to do fencing for a mid-sized construction firm based here in Pinetown. And when I'll never forget, I went there dressed in a suit with a tie. So which was just hilarious in the construction industry. And I went in and, I just presented this, how I was going to do this project, never having done fencing in my life. And I told them, no, this is my plan, this is how I'm going to do it. And yeah, they gave me the opportunity. Shame, these guys were so good to me. They gave me the opportunity. Made a lot of mistakes on the project, but eventually, yeah, like 10 years later, they're still my client. And we're still doing work for them, but they gave me my first opportunity in fencing and allowed me to learn. And yeah, that opened the doors for me to actually grow in the industry. So Natal Raise and Wire was initially a supplier of mine. So the business itself is established in 1995 by a gentleman called Dan Van Niekerk. He recently passed away, but he was a very good man, and he mentored me in the industry. Teaching me the ins and outs of fencing, initially obviously starting as a supplier of mine. And when he got sick, I was very interested in the business, and the opportunity came up for me to actually acquire the entity. And I did so. After a long period of time of engaging with him, eventually was able to acquire the entity. Yeah, and that's what brought us to this point. I think the challenges, as most small businesses would face, you've got your cash flow challenges, etc. As you're building up an entity, you face those challenges and those hurdles along the way. But I also think for us, it was more. Our challenge was more trying to grow beyond just the work itself. A lot of people, like you said, you find yourself working in the business instead of actually working on the business, and that's a major challenge. Because customers get used to you. There's goodwill because customers want to deal with you. And so once you start putting other people as the face of your entity, and you've got other people doing other things that you would traditionally do, it does become a challenge. So that was actually really a major hurdle and delegation. But yeah, fortunately we're finding our feet as well in that. Yeah, I think we're very focused, very stubborn. One of the things I experienced early in the industry is that a lot of people would come to me with opportunities to do other things. So they would ask, oh, you just do fencing, because people don't really see the larger scope of fencing. And so, we've been resolute in ensuring that we always just do fencing and we focus on the fencing. although it's a different variety of fencing, as you can see with our wide range of products, but we've always maintained that fencing is our core. And I think that's helped us be successful because, as you know, don't want to be a jack of all trades and then master of none, and we've mastered fencing. And that's why I think that's allowed us to be successful in what we do. My leadership style is more of, I believe in more guiding people to finding who they are. One of the things we did as we started to expand as an entity, you start getting new people working for you. And, it's important for us, for people to understand their strength. And for me, it's for people to realize what their strengths are. And so as opposed to trying to manage people by giving them job roles, descriptions, for me, it's flexibility to sort of see where does the person grow, what tasks allows them to actually thrive. And once people start to manifest and we see that they're strong in a certain area, to allow them now to focus on that area. It's important to actually shift people and push them into a direction where you can see that they will really grow and thrive. And so that's more of my management style. I don't really believe in just a fixed position role and you are here to do this, so that's it, but rather let people grow into their capabilities. I think at my level, where I function, the most important skill is actually the ability, firstly, to network, because we are the ones that end up bringing the work in. And so that's the responsibility that falls on my shoulders. So it's important for me to harness that skill of networking, the ability to develop new relationships, and to cultivate new relationships and also existing ones. As I mentioned, companies that we first started with, we want to ensure that we continue to build and establish those relationships. I'm inspired by results. There's nothing better than, as the saying goes, you love it when a plan comes together. And I'm really inspired by results. And I think when you start to see results, it's positive reinforcement. And it just gives you that edge that, we're actually doing the right thing. Like I said, when we started focusing more on fencing, because everyone is like, hey, why don't you only do fencing? And why don't you do construction? Why don't you do this? And because we focused on it, we found that when everyone else started to get quiet, we still had work because people knew us as the fencing guys. Those are the guys that we go to, the go-to guys for this. So it really helped us really achieve successful results. The fact that we remained focused and consistent on it. Business is not easy. It's a very, very tough industry. I would say one of the toughest industries. But I think the ability to persevere is really, really one of the greatest pieces of advice someone can give to you. You can't lose what you don't have. And so I think a lot of people, they're afraid of losing, but they haven't even started. They're so caught up in fear. They don't even start. They don't take opportunities. And when we had to make the shift in getting additional people, getting additional resources, it's a scary thing because, you're investing in all of these things. You're not too sure, is this thing going to work? Am I going to fall flat on my face? But I think just that ability just to try and, whatever takes place, you're going to persevere, you're going to enjoy, you're going to, do whatever it takes to make it happen. So I think, that's the greatest piece of advice I would give anyone, is just to persevere, and be bold, back yourself, back yourself in what you choose to do. My background is, in terms of, it's three things, it's family, friends, and flicks, Netflix. So those are the things that I do when I'm relaxing, it's being with my family, being with my friends, and sometimes it's just, switch on the TV, whether it's watching rugby or movies or binging on a series, that really helps me de-stress. And like I said, I've got one small baby, 2.5-year-old baby, so I love playing with him, and those are the sorts of things that really help me just to de-stress and get my mind right when everything is falling apart around me. My motto is out more than just the motto. I think it's the belief system I live by. Just strive for excellence. And I think, as you strive for excellence, as you strive to do better, you begin to distinguish yourself from others. I think a lot of people are always obsessed about, getting opportunities from government, getting opportunities and assistance, but no one is actually focused on what value do you give. And I think as you develop excellence, as you work on your excellence, you begin to add value to others and give value.